And although the quality of the footage on those VHS tapes doesn't quite hold up to today's digital standards, they did share one remarkable trait: the ability to capture ghosts. Case in point, nearly 30 years ago, a young man in England filmed something on VHS that's considered to be one of the most authentic ghost captures to date. (1992), West Yorkshire, England. After a series of strange events, like the sound of footsteps throughout the house, doors closing on their own, and the feeling of being pulled out of bed in the middle of the night, 15-year-old Adam Mawson was convinced that his home was haunted. So he set up his father's video camera on a tripod in various rooms in the house, pressed record, and left. He repeated this over the course of a few months, recording several VHS tapes worth of footage in the process. Then, he sat down to watch them. Now, 28 years later, Adam takes us through his incredible footage.
My name is Adam, and this is my video. I was intrigued. I wanted to know what it was. You are at that age, you want to figure out what is going on. We had about 7 tapes from different rooms. We spooled through about 3 of the tapes.
It didn't take long to see that he had captured some startling activity. First, listen carefully. As the sound of loud footsteps can be heard.
We got the running up and down the stairs, which was really freaky. That creeped us out.
But those sounds pale in comparison to what was captured on a camera that was set up in the hallway just outside of his bedroom door. Watch closely. As a shadowy figure seems to materialize in front of a wicker chair. It moves in and out of the frame. Then, finally, exits through a wall on the left. Moments later, another figure enters, remains for a few seconds, and then exits the same way. Adam was beside himself.
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it now. It still freaks me out. So I'm in on my own, watching this. I wouldn't leave the room until somebody came home, because I was just totally freaked out by what I'd seen. So when my parents came home, I showed them the footage, and my mum says, "Oh yeah, I've seen that before." "You've seen this?" And she says, I remember to this day, she says, "If you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone." And I was like, "You have got to be joking." I could not believe she said that.
Adam's mother said she kept it to herself because she didn't want him to be afraid. A wise choice.
This is as close to an authentic ghost video as I think you can really get. This video has stood up to a lot of scrutiny over the years since 1992, and I haven't seen anybody who's been able to really debunk this video. I think this is the real deal.
This is a really solid apparition. The fact that we get almost a full body shape, that we can see clear movement. We can distinguish the head from the shoulders from the body. We can see movement of walking. We can see movement of sitting and standing up. It almost reminded me of something from a horror movie. It was that clear and that solid, but still really believable.
Freaked out and wanting to know who was haunting his home, Adam did some research on the history of the street he lived on.
There was a mill built whereabouts, the two houses at the top of the road, and there was a fire in the mill, and it was burnt down. I think there were a couple of fatalities. We have a cemetery at the bottom of the road. There were rumours that the cemetery used to be all the way up, and the houses were built on a cemetery lot.
If indeed this house was built on an old cemetery, it is the classic Poltergeist the movie problem. You only moved the headstones, but you didn't move the bodies. And across the cultural board, desecrating grave sites stirs up a lot of bad juju.
This was a cemetery before anyone built on that. And after that, it was a mill. And now we have this particular family's home, and we have this entity manifesting in it. It's hard to not read all of those different layers of history of that location contributing to what it is that we're experiencing.
Whoever was haunting the house remains a mystery. And while Adam no longer lives there, his father still does, and seems to have inadvertently scared off any ghosts.
My dad convicted Jehovah's Witnessing back in 1997, and within, I say it was about 12 months, it just stopped happening. We weren't really religious people, we didn't go to church, that kind of thing, and he brought religion in, and it kind of just disappeared.
Regardless, the time he spent living there left a lasting impression.
Do you know, I never believed in ghosts before we moved into the house. Having that experience, it's kind of, it made me a bit more open-minded about everything. I do believe there's something, you know, other than our world. There's like a parallel universe or something like that where ghosts pass on, so it's changed me.
Coming up, a creepy